The costume department has done an incredible job designing this suit from scratch. The first time I saw a glimpse in the monitor, after we had shot something, I saw a little bit of playback of the suit, of me in the suit on camera. I thought, yeah, that looks pretty freaking cool. And then just today when we did the publicity photo shoot, I think that was the first time that I said, like, oh, this is yeah, I mean, it's an iconic look. The first thing that Rachel brings to the character is the inquisitive, I mean, just the way she squints at you, even, and sort of pauses and gives you a chance, and you sort of know that she's listening to every word you say, which is great. And to start this movie with 2 solid days of 12 pages of dialogue back and forth with her, the scene we screen tested with, was a really great way to start, because it also established that the heart of the movie is in the characters and their relationships. And while there's going to be some banging action, the core of it is about people and their ideas and their ideals. I'm so grateful to have James as director. To have a director who is so known for spectacle, and for heart as well, but I think he has a great simplicity to the heart in his films. To realize that he also is interested in incredibly complex dialogue. There was nothing that was off the table. There was nothing that was not of interest to him. I think it should be a big summer. I think it's going to be a fun movie. I think the promotion of the film is going to be a lot of fun. We've got a great cast, love hanging out with each other, and are very excited about what we're making. I think we're making some really cool stuff that's going to be worth waiting for and worth getting hyped about and worth seeing on a big screen.
Lois Lane is a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist who is a star reporter at the Daily Planet. And I love that she's relentless in her life. She's relentless about her pursuit of the truth. She's relentless about the things that she cares about. She's passionate. And I feel like it makes her aspirational. I'm inspired by her, somebody who goes after everything full freight and who will literally go to the ends of the earth for the things she believes in. Sometimes literally. It was amazing in the moment. I was always aware of Lois Lane. I grew up on the Chris Reeve Superman with Margot Kidder, and I just thought she was amazing and so smart and funny and sharp, and it still kind of feels like a dream. I can't believe we're here embodying these iconic characters. And the response from the outside has been so amazing. It's feels like it's multiplied the excitement just getting to talk to people on the outside about what these characters mean to them. I'll never forget when we were testing, right as I was leaving, I walked past this fitting room and David was trying on a version of the suit. We didn't know we had the job, and I just remember looking at him in the suit and being like, my God, he just is. He just is Superman, and he is Clark. There's an earnestness to both of them that feels really unique, and it's been awesome to watch him craft the two characters and craft that thing in the middle. James Gunn's set is infusing a movie with love and hope. He did a deep dive on all of us, and he brought together this group of people who are just excited to be here and happy to be here every day, and he loves these universes. He loves these characters, and that kind of energy comes from the top. And so it's just been a blast. We've had so much fun. He has a crystal clear vision for what he wants to do, but he's also really collaborative, and he's made space for us to play and find things and work together. And it's just been awesome. One of the things I love the most about Superman is that he believes in the power of people to be good. And I feel like he's curious about what it means to be human and wants to uplift the people around him and and honor the people who raised him in Ma and Pa Kent. And so he's a superhero, but he's a superhero who's both invincible and also in search of his own humanity.
He represents everything that's good and hope, and for me, kind of, I guess he transports me back to being, you know, a little kid, and that's what I feel being on these sets and seeing David in the costume. It kind of transports me into this kind of giddy childhood like state. I think the thing that jumped out to me was that it was a James Gunn script, and his style of writing. You can kind of instantly imagine what this film becomes. Having seen a lot of his work and loved it, reading the script, I was like, oh, fantastic! It's James Gunn's take on a Superman story and world, and all these exciting characters and ideas that he's focused in on from the comics. So that's what was thrilling about it. I love him as a character. I think, you know, that was one of the things that I think James has really nailed in this script is Lex, you know, is the bad guy for the story, but there's also a lot of things in his character and in his ideas and persona that maybe are right and aren't initially too crazy of an idea. So as misguided as he might be, has his moral perspective and judgment off, he kind of believes in his soul that he's doing the best thing for humanity and he can protect them, and that these, you know, meta-humans are a threat to us all. And I think that place is quite a pure sense of where he's starting out from. Lex is already very heightened and aggressive and bitter and angry and all these things that kind of add up to him. Hopefully I didn't play it to like a caricature. We'll see. The engineer is someone that is an ex-special operative soldier who Lex has developed nanite technology, which is in her blood, so she can transform it into anything she can imagine. She's unstoppable. She marches through taking out robots and all this with ease, turning her hands into buzzsaws. And Gabby does an incredible job. She's been working so hard with the stunt team physically to prepare for all that, where she could do all these incredible moves and makes all the action that's happening physically so special. I've absolutely loved working with James because there's two brilliant things about him. It's his ability to know exactly what he wants and have a clear vision, and to know that that's going to work for what he's creating, but then also be very open to ideas and switching things up and trying things. So that, which is kind of the perfect thing as an actor, because you get that freedom to be like, oh, can we try this? Would this be interesting? Can I look at that? And if he likes it, then great, it'll happily be incorporated. But also at the same time, you feel this security and trust, in the sense of like, you know that he's got it and he knows what he needs. So once he's happy, you're like, great, that's it, and you can move on. So, I mean, just as a fan of his movies, I'm excited to see this film because I think I would like it, even if I was nothing to do with it. I can just say that I'm excited for it, and I've got to read the script, I've got to be on set and see a small part of the movie, and from everything that I've seen, I'm like, oh, this is a movie that I would love to go to the cinema and see, so hopefully other people do too.
I mean, he's iconic for the best, the top, the invulnerable, the most power, uncorruptible. When you want to, what is the highest, most upper echelon you can think of? That's Superman. And also, he's probably going to be on your side, unless you're evil, right? So you can always count on him. That's the idea. You'd think if everything's going terribly wrong, if only Superman were here. I think what really jumps off the page for me is that we're already here. We're already in a world that knows about Superman. And more so, it's not our world, which is something we've been sold many times, which is what would happen if Superman were real and came to our world. But this is more so, what if we existed in his world? That comic book world where interdimensional beings are a fact of life. Everybody gets it. There's aliens. We're not the only ones around here. Bank robbers are themed, you know, like the Animal Gang, and they all wear different, like that's the kind of comic book stuff. Giant robots. This is the stuff I was sold when I was reading comic books as a kid, and this is the world that James is letting us live in for a moment, which I think is very fresh and very different. This is a flawed man. You don't have to be good to wield a ring, a Green Lantern ring. You just have to have the will. And the will is something Guy Gardner has in spades, but he also has that switch in his brain that's been flipped, that he's the Sophia of Golden Girls. He lacks that filter that says, maybe don't say that part, or maybe don't think that out loud. He lacks that part, and he's okay with that. And I think there's something really, as an actor, there's something very freeing about playing that kind of guy, about being a jerk. And I think also far more relatable. He's so prepared. He has ideas. He knows what he's doing visually, costumes, color, music. He's got everything built up. He's got it all ordered up in his mind. He knows what's happening. So also, you're just kind of also trying to play catch up with him. He's got a lot going on, that guy. He knows what he's doing. That's the thing. That's what's great about working with James.
This man is an extraordinary person, but he's also got a lot of depth. He lost his wife in an accident, so he's dealing with some emotional issues as well. So he's not perfect. He's a flawed human being. And he's also a human being in a world of gods and monsters. So this character, I think he's a special sauce in the equation of the DCU. The Justice Gang is different because it's a superhero team that's really made up of only 3 individuals. So it's not a big, expansive superhero team. And they're kind of nascent, so they're a little ragtag. They work well together in that their strengths complement each other. You know, Guy Gardner has that ring that he can do anything with, and Hawkgirl can also fly, and she'll kill you. And Mr. Terrific is the brains of the operation. This is probably the best set that I've ever been on. And it's because the magic is James. He not only wrote the material, he knows it intimately, and he's directing this film, but he also does create an environment where there's just total freedom. And freedom can be scary because if you have all that freedom and you don't have anything to access, then you feel like a failure. But you have James, who together helps you find new things that you couldn't anticipate. He's a magician.
She can make herself into anything she can imagine. And not only herself, but she can create, you know, different weapons, complex machinery outside of herself. She can make clones of herself, which is really, really cool. So that's kind of on the outside. And on the inside, I think she's very broken. She has some really rough past that made her believe that the world is completely broken and needs to be fixed no matter the consequences and no matter how many people get hurt and no matter what she has to do. She's gonna work really hard to fix what's broken to make sure that people don't suffer. Lex is my boss. He's the engineer's boss. He is one of the most powerful humans in the planet, and he's brilliant. He's a genius that has a profound love for science and knowledge. And, you know, he has the means to create this crazy technology that could potentially help the world. And I think people choose to believe that Lex will move the world forward and help us evolve. But of course, we will find out that he's not really a great person. And so they have a complex relationship because Lex created the engineer. So at this point in her life, she owes her powers to him. James is just such a fun guy, and he knows exactly what he wants. And he's not messing around. He goes straight to the point, and he tells you what he needs and expects you to deliver. He truly hires the best people for the job. and he expects you to be really, to bring your A game. So that's very challenging and that's very fun. That's a great leader right there. And I love him. I'm just a big fan. He brings the magic, I think, to his sets. And I talk to everybody that has worked on a James Gunn film set, and they all feel the same way.
Eve originally came from the Richard Donner movies, so she's not necessarily a comic book character, so there was a lot of freedom to work with Eve. Eve is just like fascinated by everything and everyone around her, and she just loves clothes and taking selfies. I think in the back of her mind, she does start seeing Lex's real side. I think Eve is secretly a genius. James Gunn is amazing. He's so funny, but there's just no one that knows the superhero world more than he does, because he's a true fan. And you can see with the script, like, he just does justice to who Superman is and who all these characters are. And he really knows how to bring, like, the comedy without losing the heart. So, yeah, I mean, the script's amazing. I was a little intimidated, but everyone is just so nice, and everyone has such a good energy, and everyone is so kind to each other, and I've been learning so much. And James is such an incredible collaborator, and it's just been the greatest experience of my life. I just learned so much from everyone and from him. The other thing is the fact that we have sets like this, and we're not really working just on a blue screen. Especially me, because I have to react to everything with excitement. I didn't even have to act. I was just like, oh my God, this is incredible. Yeah, like, the sets have been, like, I remember seeing this set for the first time, and I was like, oh my God, it's incredible. It's just been surreal.
I mean, the summer of Superman, that's just it. I think that there's gonna be a wild ride that people are in store for. There's gonna be just this kind of excitement for, honestly, the beginning of a whole new chapter when it comes to DC. And it's gonna start with a real bang. I mean, I think it's really gonna wow people, and it's really gonna kind of, take people back to the kind of heart of really what it's about. I mean, the summer of Superman, that's just it. I think that there's gonna be a wild ride that people are in store for. There's gonna be just this kind of excitement for, honestly, the beginning of a whole new chapter when it comes to DC. And it's gonna start with a real bang. I mean, I think it's really gonna wow people, and it's really gonna kind of, take people back to the kind of heart of really what it's about. Metamorpho, AKA Rex Mason, AKA the Element Man, he's a very complicated figure. He's kind of cursed in a certain way with, in the comic books, he's literally cursed. But, he's very uncomfortable with his powers, and his powers being able to metamorphose himself into any substance based on, the periodic table. And he is, a very complicated figure. He doesn't really like the fact that he is a superhero. He doesn't like the fact that he has been gifted these powers, and he sees it as a curse. And so just as an actor, it's a really, fantastic thing to be playing someone that nuanced. James's set is one of the coolest I've ever been on. It strikes this balance of being so huge and so epic and so colorful and having such kind of wonder to it, but it's also so grounded in being a good time. We're all having the best time filming this movie. There's a camaraderie that you really don't get very often, and especially on big things where a lot of that stuff just gets lost in the weeds. James prioritizes it. He makes sure that everyone is tapping into that kind of heart that is in the script, that's in the movie. And you can feel it. You can feel it, that everyone is kind of pitching in to bring this wonderful energy. And I sensed it immediately when I was on set. And it makes really difficult scenes quite easy because you just have this immense wave of energy carrying you while you're doing it. It's a character that is kind of possessing godlike powers, and yet he's also quite sensitive and misunderstood and feels quite alienated. So there's an interesting kind of dichotomy there where you have this incredibly powerful being matched with this pathos of pain and difficulty in terms of his experience.
Jimmy is a photographer at the Daily Planet. He works closely with Lois Lane, and they have a ton of respect for each other, and I think they take their jobs very seriously. And Jimmy's just kind of a guy. He's just kind of a guy doing his job. He loves journalism. He cares deeply about journalistic integrity, and he's just sort of a guy trying to do his job, really, no matter what else is going on. Pretty early in the script, there's just a 10-page scene that's a conversation between Lois and Clark. And when you're reading a superhero script, I think you're expecting every other page, laser battles and crazy. And this script has all of those things while also kind of balancing. It's just got a lot of heart, and there's such a human element to it. And also the approach James took with Superman as sort of like having an identity crisis, that it's really a movie about, struggling with your sense of self and what makes us who we are. And yeah. And also just across the board on all James movies, there's just so much heart. And that more than anything else, I was really struck by reading this script. James just has that Midas touch, I think. I think that sort of like he gets to the core of what these movies are, which is like everything that you want out of a superhero movie is there. I mean, you have like the epic world building and a real original kind of take on all of that. But then there's also this like whimsical, very heartfelt, like human element to it as a through line through all of it. And there's just a lot of like comedy, and he cares so deeply about the characters, and I think that really comes through in this movie and kind of all his movies, but this one especially, seen as this is sort of like we're originating a lot of characters here and meeting them for the first time. And he kind of navigates all that in a way that I think is unique to him and to the DC world.